everybody knows that growing up isn't an easy thing, but some people do things that make them a little bit more different than others. Like, maybe you were the smelly kid in class, or maybe you were the kid that ate the clay in art. I took different to a whole nother level. When I was in kindergarten, I still sucked my thumb. And my mom wanted me to stop. And she was like, Allison, do you really want to grow up and look like Bucky Beaver? And I was like, but that was not a good enough answer for her. So she took me to the orthodontist and had me fitted for a tongue cage. I literally had a cage inside my mouth going into kindergarten so that I wouldn't suck my thumb. It worked. I stopped. But I still had a bad overbite. So then my next retainer that I had to wear was this thing that you had to talk with your teeth clenched. So I would go up to people and try to make friends with them. I'd be like, hi, how are you? And it was really awkward. So after I got all of the retainers removed, things were getting a little bit better. And I started, thinking about how I can make friends. And when you think about how people make friends in elementary school, it's not in math class or in science. It's at recess, right? Only I wasn't really allowed to go outside for recess in 4th and 5th grade because I developed this weird skin irritation where I broke out into hives in cold weather, so I wasn't allowed to go outside. So while everyone was forging these long-lasting friendships on the playground, I was inside helping my teachers staple papers together. So going into middle school, things finally got a little better. My rash went away. I got braces, but everyone had braces, so that was like the cool thing. Everything was okay. There was just one small thing. I didn't really stand up particularly straight, and my mom, again, was like, Allison, stand up straight. Why don't you stand up straight? And I was like, whatever, Mom. I was a teenager, didn't care. But she took me to the doctor, who referred me to a specialist, who diagnosed me with an advanced stage of scoliosis, curvature of the spine. And I had two options. I could either have surgery where they placed a metal rod into my spine, or I could wear a back brace. Guess what option my family chose for me? The back brace option. So actually making the back brace was a traumatic experience in itself. Basically, you go to the doctor and you stand in this like awkward position, and then they totally cover you from like below your armpits to below your hips in wet plaster, and then you stand there awkwardly until it dries. And then they hand you a pair of safety goggles, and they literally chainsaw you out. And I thought I was going to get killed in that process. I survived, obviously, but I did not think I was going to survive my first day of high school. This brace, I had to start wearing it going into my freshman year of high school. So I always thought of high school as this time where I was going to be able to reinvent myself into like the prom queen or like some cool athletic girl, and I had spent the summer reinventing myself into a robot, literally. So everyone was like out buying like cool clothes to like go back to school and getting their tan and going to the beach, and I had spent the summer looking for clothes that would fit over this like plastic and metal monstrosity, and it was kind of like a metal and plastic girdle. It was really tight. It was really hard for me to like bend down and stand up quickly. So it was completely awkward. And all of this started to hit me my first day of high school. I was sitting at the breakfast table. I still remember this, Cheerios. I'm scarred to this day. I was crying in my Cheerios, thinking about how I had to go to high school. And my mom, she comes over, she looks at me, and she's like, Allison, I know this is a really tough time for you right now, but just think about how great it's going to be for essays for your college applications. And I was like, really, Mom? This is your pep talk on my first day of high school? Not really going to help. So I went to high school, and within the first couple of days, the rumors were flying. Everything from I had been in a car accident to I was carrying concealed weapons under my shirt in a backpack. I don't know. But kids actually would start daring each other to run into me in the hallway and kind of like elbow me awkwardly so they could see what was going on under here. And it would hurt because they're hitting like metal and plastic, and it was just kind of awkward. And instead of people asking me what was going on, they would find their own way, like hitting me in the hallways, which obviously made me feel a little bit left out. And I think the most traumatic part was that I couldn't do the things that I'd wanted to do in high school. And as I mentioned earlier, I wanted to do something athletic, because I thought all the athletic kids are cool. So I really wanted to join the tennis team so I could be like the cool tennis girl and win a trophy, because all the cool kids win trophies. And I couldn't do that. So my consolation activity was to join the marching band. Yeah, exactly, and exactly. I joined the marching band, and that actually, I'm about to get after school special on you because it was the best decision I could have ever made for myself. I don't know what the marching band kids were like in your school, but at my school they were a little bit different. So I fit in really well. And we were a military-style marching band, and so you had to stand at attention all the time. I was already doing that all the time. And there was this latch on the back that was like metal, and when I'd walk around school, it'd make like a clicking sound. But in marching band, I was like a human metronome. So, I mean, marching band was a great experience, and I started making friends, and my whole attitude changed. It was like when I'd walk through the hallways and kids would like try to hit me, and they would be like, ow, in the middle of the hallway. Instead of getting upset by it, I would be like, that's right, abs of steel. So, obviously I don't wear the brace anymore. It's been many years that, it's been since I've worn it, but I still have it actually at home at my parents' house, sitting in the closet collecting dust, much like other people's trophies, I guess, actually. And I keep it, I think, as a reminder of a time when I should have stuck out, but instead I started to fit in.